The city of Portland, Oregon. It's already seen one upset tonight, an 11 seed knocking out a 3. Will we have another? And will we have non-power conference representation in the second weekend? A Big South team has never made the Sweet 16. The High Point University Panthers aim to try and change that statistic. The 12th seed of the West, a tough task though. They are aimed with slowing down the hottest player in the United States, Darius Auff, John Calipari of the Arkansas Razorbacks. A spot in the Sweet 16 in San Jose next Thursday to tonight's winner. Rob Martin, Scotty Washington, Terry Anderson, Braden Housen, Owen Aquino, the starting 5 for High Point. Auff, Thomas Brazil, Richmond, and Ewan, the starting 5 for the Hogs. Seth Eves with you here on the stream on the channel. John Calipari tied for 5th all-time in tournament wins. He hit the big 6-0. Partners, 179.9 combined points per game this season between these two teams. That's the most in a tournament matchup since 1995. Translation, we're going to be in for one well of a show. High Point in the road purple, Arkansas in the home white. But first, an issue with the floor inside the Moda Center. So this is only going to add to the delay and add to the nerves, I guess you would say, for both these teams. We're just about set to go. Now, finally going to have the ball up, tipped up, and underway. Took a while, but High Point controls the tip. They'll go from left to right in their purple uniforms with the white shirt, with the white numerals. Arkansas the opposite way. James Breeding, Byron Jarrett, Larry Scarato are our officials. Here come High Point. Aquino gives it to Housen. Housen top of the key. Now gives it to Anderson. 4 to shoot. Anderson on a drive and scores, and the first points to the Panthers. Arkansas beat Hawaii 97-78 on Thursday, their 6th straight win. The SEC tournament champions, the Big South champions, High Point, the stunning win over Wisconsin. Richmond for Arkansas, into the hands of Auff. Meanders to the right. Here's Auff on the drive. Brilliant move to the basket, and he's off and running on the night. Darius Auff with the lay-in, and it's 2-2. Here's High Point for 3. That one's good. Down the pipe. A 15-game win streak for the Panthers. They lead the country in steals per game. They have an early 5-2 lead thanks to a three-pointer. Auff pull up at the foul line. Too strong, no good. Rebound, Washington. High Point up the floor. Gives it to Rob Martin. Martin now over to Housen. Housen on the right block. Now over to Aquino. Aquino. Now Washington, nearly stolen. Anderson kept it alive, 7 to shoot. Anderson went for the bounce pass, deflected, came right back to Anderson. Kick out Aquino, free to fire in the left corner for 3. No. Anderson offensive rebound. Housen blocked from behind. It's going to stay with High Point. High Point, of course, becoming just the second Big South team, just the second time ever a Big South team won a round of 64 game when they won on Thursday. They joined Winthrop, who did it in 2007. Here is Thomas. Missing the shot, and now here comes High Point. Aquino gives it over to Anderson. Anderson might have walked, didn't matter. High off the window for Terry Anderson. Great finish, and High Point has raced out to a 7-2 lead. Anderson averaging 16 points per game. Razzle now over to Thomas. Auff now over to Thomas. Thomas left wing, 7 to shoot. Thomas long cross court pass. Brazil with 3, and Brazil gets fouled trying to cut to the basket. Arkansas, of course, trying to make the Sweet 16 for a second straight year. Last year, they did it as a number 10 seed, beating Kansas and St. John's before losing to Texas Tech. Arkansas, of course, national champions back in 1994. Brazil for 3 in the corner. Too strong. Then the acrobatic dunk attempt by Ewan missed badly. High Point, pull up 3, Martin. No good. They'll take the 3s, that's for sure. Ewan for Arkansas. Here comes a lob. Brazil puts it in. They went for that lob, and Brazil with the layup. 13 points a game he averages, and it's a 7-4 lead for High Point. High Point now trying to work it now with Anderson. Anderson, nice Euro step, and a good finish for Anderson. 9-4 lead for HPU. Auff now gives it to Richmond. Richmond, and foul here. Of course, High Point, there was so much history with that win. We mentioned the Big South part of it as Anderson picks up his second foul. It was their first tournament win, obviously, ever. It was their first win, period, High Point, in anything over a power conference opponent. They picked a great time to do it. Brazil now gives it up to Ewan. Richmond, now Auff. Auff drives in, and Auff's fouled. Well, if you know your college basketball, you'll know the long history of outstanding guards, point guards, floor generals that John Calipari has produced in college, from Derrick Rose to John Wall, as Auff misses the first one to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and you Tyreke Evans, and on and on and on. This guy might just be as good in college, at least, as any of them. Can he take Calipari to the promised land for the second time in his career? That remains to be seen. 7th leading scorer in the country, Auff makes the free throw. Winner of this game will play the winner of tomorrow's Utah State-Arizona game in the Sweet 16. Housen, a right wing 3, rims out. Rebound by Brazil. Now it's Auff up the floor. Auff for 3. He's not bashful. Off the front of the rim, no. Rebound, Ewan. Thomas, long 3. Got it. Malik Thomas, 42% three-point shooter. And I'll tell you what, you want to talk about atmospheres. Neither one of these teams are close to Portland, but that has not stopped either fan base. High Point bringing a plane load of people and students and fans to cheer them on as the block is made by Arkansas. And, of course, Arkansas always travels well, particularly for their basketball program. Auff to the 10, lays it in, and Arkansas has its first lead of the night as Auff drives to the basket and scores. As we near the 15-minute mark, Auff with half of the Arkansas points. Martin, his long 3 is off the heel, no good. And then a foul, Washington. And that's going to take us to a break in the action. So 14:45 to play. First half just underway in Portland. And it's Arkansas with a 10-9 lead over High Point. Back in a moment. Back in Portland, how about Tom Izzo? 61st tournament win, 5th all-time, one ahead of Calipari. He'll be right back tied with the Arkansas wins. Texas had earlier advanced into a nice Sweet 16 in the ones. Have it. Chalk on the ones with Texas and Michigan. Or Texas and Michigan. Duke and Michigan both advancing. 4-12 game here. Auff. This is some good ball movement. Brazil in the corner, a 3. Misses off the front of the rim. Rebound corralled by High Point with Fletcher. Housen now into the game. Housen kicks it out. Fletcher rejected. Brazil with a return to sender. So here is Conrad Martinez, who is now checked into the game for High Point. 10 on the timer. Martinez on the right wing. Housen catch it, shoot for the right wing. Too strong. Rebound gathered in by Brazil. Brazil now Thomas. Ewin knifing in and scoring. Good job by Ewin and a 12-9 Arkansas lead. At the other end, Martinez. Layup is good by Conrad Martinez. And High Point now is to within 1. Ewin, 16 points, 12 boards, 6 dimes against Hawaii. Here's Auff spinning on the left side. His fadeaway jump shot rattles in and out. Rebound High Point with Fletcher. Panthers now run with Martinez. He'll hand it off. Toss now back to Fletcher. Fletcher drives in the paint. Fletcher double pumps, moves, scores. Good move by Cameron Fletcher. And High Point's back in front, 13-12. Arkansas with Thomas on the right wing. Thomas now gives it to Brazil. Brazil knifing in. Brazil trying to score it and could not do it. Rebound High Point. 12:55 to play first half. 13-12 High Point. Here is Martinez. Now gives it to Fletcher. His 3 from the left wing. Way off the mark. High Point not hitting the 3s early. Here's Richmond up the floor for Arkansas, and then he gets fouled. 5th team foul already on the Panthers. We still have 12:42 to play in the first half of this one. Updating you on other games, 7.5 to go in Greenville. Illinois up 21 on VCU. And Oklahoma City, Nebraska with a 7-point halftime lead over Vanderbilt. Auff. Pass deflected, but only went as far as Thomas. Thomas from the right side takes a fadeaway jumper. Nothing but net for Malik Thomas. And Arkansas goes back in front by a point. 12:25 to play the first half. 5 for Thomas. Martinez now being guarded by Auff. Moves around to the right wing. Martinez. Fletcher now back to Martinez. Fletcher right wing. Fletcher drives. Kicks it out. Martinez with 8 to shoot. On the right wing. Martinez with 5. Martinez step back 3. Off the side of the rim, no good. Brazil corrals the rebound. Hogs want to run. Thomas. Pull up 3. Good. Malik Thomas with a bit of a heat check. And he's starting to feel it. And the Razorbacks go up by 4. Good 3 by Malik Thomas. 17-13 Arkansas. Here is Martinez on the left wing. He'll give it up to Fletcher. Fletcher now trying to move to the left side. Fletcher, fade away from the paint, off the heel, bounced about 4 times, and did not drop. Ewin the rebound. Auff, great pass. Richmond. Richmond accelerates, went for the dunk and rejected. Loose ball picked up by High Point. Martinez now looking. Flings one over to the left side. Brady 3. Not even close. Rebound Arkansas. Razorbacks on the move. Thomas. Mid-range. Good. Malik Thomas is the man that's taken over for Arkansas with the first 9 minutes of this one. He is on fire. 10 points and Arkansas up 19-13. Here's Chase Johnston in the game for the first time. His first 3 attempt, that's all he does is take threes, and he missed. Back to Fletcher. His 3 is good. Cameron Fletcher gets one to drop, and it's 19-16. A reminder that Johnston, he's only made 1 2-point attempt on the entire season, and it was the winning layup against Arkansas on Thursday, or against Wisconsin on Thursday. A-cuff to Thomas. Thomas right wing. Good tempo to this game. Thomas feeling it, but not this time. Rebound skied out of the air by Singare for High Point. Panthers run. Fletcher blocked out of bounds. Richmond foul, who will get a stoppage and a chance to take a breath. 10:09 to play in the first half. Boy, it's a fast one. Arkansas 19 and High Point 16. The Hogs and the Panthers. San Jose, the prize for the winner. Back in just a moment. Back on the channel, Darius Acuff with a that's the single season night for schools and schools points and assists as the Arkansas Razorbacks trying to make another Sweet 16. John Calipari. Here is High Point, and Fletcher driving it, and now it's Wagner getting the rebound. Arkansas on the run with Thomas. He's had the hot hand. This is the jumper here, though. Rebound, High Point, and Singare. This is Martin. Martin deflected, looking for Singare. His pass deflected. Arkansas with numbers. This is Ewin. He'll give it to Wagner on the left wing. Wagner now moves to the right. Oh, that was the first turnover of the game on either end. That one that happened just a minute ago. Wagner giving it up. He's not giving it up. He takes it all the way. And a good move by Wagner. He lays it in. Arkansas up by 5. 21-16 with 9:17 to play first half. Here's High Point with Martin. Martin now to the right wing. Martin now penetrates into the lane, gets a fake, jump stop, short off the front of the rim. Rebound, Ewing. Arkansas has it now with Thomas. Thomas now crossing midcourt. Thomas, good move. Thought about the shot. Now gives it off to Ewing. Ewing at the free throw line. Ewing now backing in the paint. Ewing, little hook shot from 7, didn't go. Rebound, High Point, Fletcher. Panthers with numbers. All the way. Layup good. Vincent Brady the second with a layup. And it's High Point within 3. Wagner on the right wing. 9 bench points for High Point. Brazil. Richmond. Back to Brazil. Brazil. Good dump inside. That's 2 more for Ewing. And Arkansas now up by 5. Here comes Martin. Martin on the right wing. Now Johnston. Thought about it. Then gave it to Fletcher. Fletcher will take it. It's no good. Here comes Ewing. Ewing. Richmond. Richmond driving in, scoring. Great finish by Billy Richmond III. And Arkansas's built the lead up to 7. Richmond averages 11 points per game. Off the screen, Singari screen, it's Martin. Martin with 13 now gives it to Fletcher. Fletcher left wing. Fletcher drives in, 6 to shoot. Great job, Fletcher, laying it in, and High Point cuts it to 5. Cameron Fletcher with a layup. 25-20 Arkansas at top, 7:16 to play first half. Wagner left wing, tries to move to the right side. Bounce pass over to Brazil. Now it's Wagner. Brazil. Now Wagner. Kicks it back out. Brazil all alone for a right wing 3, and he hits it. Oh, Brazil all alone for the 3 ball at Arkansas's lead at 8. Martin out of control. Somehow kept possession of it. Here's Johnston. He's got it. Of course, it's a 3 for Chase Johnston. He's a 49% three-point shooter in High Point. Cuts it to 5. Here comes Wagner. Wagner. Ewing, the layup is good. And Arkansas now up by 7. Martin. Top of the key. Now moves right. Now moves back to the left side. Fletcher for 3. Good. Left wing triple from Cameron Fletcher. High Point hanging around. 6 minutes to play in the first. They're back to within 4. This is Wagner now, crossing the midcourt stripe. Wagner to Brazil. Brazil off a high screen, now gives it back to Wagner. Back to Brazil. Thought about a 3, thinks better of it. Gives it up to Ewing. Ewing on the right block, 9 to shoot. Ewing now moves. Left-hand dribble. Ewing turns. Layup, no good. Rebounded High Point. Panthers now want to run again. This is Martin for 3. No good. Too strong. The rebound gathered in by Richmond. Wagner now up the floor for Arkansas. Wagner right wing now over to Richmond. Richmond with 13 on the timer. Richmond's free throw line jumper is in and out. High Point with the rebound up the floor. Here comes Martin. Fletcher. Martin for 3. Got it. Rob Martin with the triple, and High Point has cut it to 1. Rob Martin and the Panthers feeling it from downtown. Thomas up the floor for Arkansas. Wagner gives it up to Thomas. Richmond with 10 to shoot. Richmond flings it to Thomas. Thomas's floater. No. Ball out of bounds. And whose ball is it? It's going to go back to High Point. 4.5 to play in the first. And Arkansas leading it 30-29 in this one. The Panthers, they are hanging tough. We'll be back in just a moment. (30-29) Arkansas on top as we come out of the break. And High Point turns it over. Into play in the first half. Auff. Long three. It's good. Auff starting to feel it again. 33-29. So breaking the action again, and we'll take the break with, 3:41 in the first half. 33-29 Arkansas. Back in a moment. Lob off the inbounds pass, intercepted. Arkansas blew the layup, though. Thomas can't believe that he blew it. 33-29, Arkansas on top. Here is Martin. Martin on the right wing. Martin trying to move into the paint. Over Brazil. That was impressive. Rob Martin lays it in at high point. Back to within 2. Here is Auff. Now flips it to Wagner. Wagner alley-oop. And the finish by Richmond on the stuff. It is a 35-31 Arkansas lead. So high point with it now with Fletcher. Fletcher trying all the way. That's going to be a goaltend, I believe, on Brazil. Yes. Goaltending on Brazil. 2:44 to play in the first half. A reminder coming up at halftime. We'll get you caught up on what else is happening in the NCAA. Oh, I thought they were doing another break. I thought that was a second under 4 for some reason. I don't know. Auff stepped back on the fadeaway, and he buries it. 37-33. Martin drives. No, but he gets fouled. And so an 83% free throw shooter, Rob Martin, will head to the line. Senior out of St. Louis. So now I can tell you that coming back, I'll get you up to date on all the latest scores from the men's and women's tournament, as well as action from the men's NIT and news regarding one of the sports blue bloods. Could a change be a coming? Martin makes the first free throw. Second free throw, also good. And high point within a deuce. 2:26 to play first half. There have only been 4 combined free throws in this game. Arkansas up 2. Auff, lob, Richmond puts it in. Good lob, and Richmond able to put it in, and it's a 39-35 Arkansas lead. 2:05 to play in the first half. At the other end, Aquino, he misses. Rebound, Arkansas. He went on outlet to Richmond. Richmond trying to go all the way, no good, but a foul on high point. That'll be the 16th foul, and Housen got the worst of it and takes a hit to the midsection. Or to the stomach. Oh boy, he looks to be grimacing quite a bit there. Tried to take the charge, but instead he is called for the blocking foul. Tough break there, and Housen now back on his feet. It is a final from Greenville, Illinois, with a 76-55 win over VCU. Richmond now at the foul line. Nebraska with a 43-36 lead on Vanderbilt early in the second half. That game and this one, the last 2 of the day, as Richmond comes up short on the first free throw. Another one coming. Makes that one. So 1 of 2. Five-point game. High point down by 5. Oh, look out below. Cameron Fletcher, the runway was clear. It was a parting of the Red Sea. And an easy stuff for Fletcher. High-scoring first half as you'd expect with these two. He told you about how it was the most combined points by 2 teams in a tournament game in over 30 years. Auff's 3 in and out. Fletcher the rebound. Gives it up to Martin. Martin accelerates. Aquino. Johnston. Now back to Aquino. Oh, all alone. Fletcher in the corner for 3, but he's too long on it. Ewing with the rebound. He'll give it up to Wagner. Wagner now crosses the midcourt stripe. 1:08 to play first half. Hogs at 3. This is Ewing now. Ewing now trying to work with 18 on the timer. Ewing knifing and missing. Loose. And it's grabbed by High Point. Here comes Martin. Martin spinning and scoring. Rob Martin with a fancy spin move. And Arkansas's lead is down to just 1. John Calipari elects to use his use it or lose it timeout. And the High Point faithful are getting a bit excited. And why wouldn't they be? 1-point lead for the Hogs. So we shall see what happens here in the last 46 seconds of this first half. Again, just incredible. High Point is not lying down by any stretch. Again, a Big South team has never been to the Sweet 16. Now, not to be the party pooper, but there are some people, particularly those who are in the know with Big South and mid-major basketball, that will tell you High Point is not your average Cinderella. Maybe not the little engine that they think they are. In a theoretical sense, yes. Smallish school, small conference, a 12 seed, but you look deep down in it, critics, particularly those in their own league, will tell you that High Point has just an insane, just engulfs the rest of the conference from an NIL perspective. And there's also been talk about how legit the school actually may be, and all of that. Now they're not exactly on the fair tale you think they are. Here's Auff, and he gets fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. But yeah, I mean, but the upsets are still upsets, and we're gonna enjoy it here at that is for sure. As Auff comes up short of the first free throw, objectively, of course, we don't root for story people just root for storylines, but and I'm not even saying that I believe it. I'm just saying that of course the president, well funded, usually pay for the students like on pay for a charter flight for them to get there, to get to Portland. So again, Now, I'm not personally criticizing it as High Point's going to take a timeout. I'm just saying there are people out there that have said, don't call this the feel-good fairy tale that you want to believe. So 41-39. Darius Acuff, 11 points, and with the points, he passes the great Todd Day for the most points by an Arkansas player in a single season. So now here comes High Point up the floor. They've made 5 of the last 7 field goals in the last 4.5 minutes. Here's Johnston backing outside of the arc. Now it's Martinez on the left wing. Martinez trying to move into the lane. Good pass. Aquino. Double team. Needs help. There's Johnston. 5 to shoot. He puts up the 3. And High Point is in front. Guess who? Double 9. 8 seconds left in the first half. The ball's in the hands of Acuff. Acuff loses it and then is fouled. And Finn Clayman is rather disgusted. So Acuff at the line. He's only 2 of 4 at the line tonight. He gets the friendly roll on the first one. Now the second one. 3 seconds to play in the half, and a chance for the Panthers, or for the Razorbacks, to take the lead on this Acuff free throw. Oh, rattled in. It bounced around, looked like it was going to bounce out, then somehow bounced in. And Arkansas takes the lead. 3 seconds left. Does High Point have something up its sleeve? Now, the World Feed scoreboard still has Arkansas at 42. There they go. I was going to say, did I miss something? But now they updated it. 3 seconds to go in the half. Here we go. Martin with 2. 1 second. Martin flies. Runner just inside a half court off the left side of the rim. And that'll get us to halftime. Halftime in Portland, and we've got a doozy brewing between the 4 and the 12 seeds. Arkansas in a dogfight with the Panthers of High Point, 43-42. Arkansas leads. We've got second half action, but first halftime activities coming up after this. I say if there's no break. After you watch the screen, a quick break, get some refreshments, and then score time. got ourselves a good old-fashioned track meet in the Rose City of Portland. 43-42, the lead for the Arkansas Razorbacks over the High Point Panthers. Set these back with you here. Let's fire up the scoreboard to get you caught up on what else is happening in the NCAA tournament. Starting first on the men's side. Only one other men's game in progress. We figured it would be a good one, and it indeed is hotly contested in Oklahoma City. 11:39 to go. Nebraska leading Vanderbilt in that 4-5 matchup, 50-49. The winner goes to the Sweet 16 in Houston. Earlier today, the finals as follows. 33rd win of the year for top seed Michigan in the Midwest. They beat St. Louis 95-72. 25 for Yaxel Lindeborg. Wolverines move on in the Midwest to play Texas Tech or Alabama. In the East Regional, Duke, the overall #1 seed of the tournament, only up 4 at the half, but ran away and hid from Texas Christian in the second half. Final in that ball game, Blue Devils 81, Horned Frogs 58. Duke advances to play the winner of St. John's in Kansas. Second team in the East punched their ticket for the regionals in D.C. Another Sweet 16 for Tom Izzo, and third-seeded Michigan State, 77-69. They lead Louisville, or they beat Louisville today, 21-10 for Cohen Carr. So Michigan State with an 8-point victory there in the East. In the West, 2 games in the West tonight, of course. This one, and earlier you saw the screen, Texas, the number 11 seed, joins the list of teams that go from first 4 to Sweet 16. They stun number 3 Gonzaga 74-68. Just their 21st win of the year versus 14 losses, but it's the Longhorns who are on to the Sweet 16. Also today in the South, once our first Sweet 16 matchup is set, by the way, in the South, it'll be the 2 and the 3 seeds, Houston and Illinois, both winning in convincing fashion. The Cougars beat 10th seeded Texas A&M, eliminating the Aggies 88-7. And third-seeded Illinois knocked out 11th seed Virginia Commonwealth 76-55 as the Illini move on with a 26-point victory for the win. Illinois-Houston. You like low post play? That'll be the game for you. All right, let's set the lineup for tomorrow. For the second round of the tournament, we'll have 4 games for you. We'll have the first 2 standalone games from St. Louis shortly after 12 o'clock. Miami versus Purdue in the West, a 7-2 game. A couple of 7-2 games to start the day. Also, we'll have Kentucky and Iowa State from the Midwest. That is about 2:45. Then at 5:15, what a game in San Diego, St. John's in Kansas. We're back on at 6:10 with the first of the 2 Philadelphia games. 6-3 matchup, Tennessee, Virginia. At 7:10, defending champion Florida, the top seed of the South, takes on Iowa. At 7:50, the top seed of the West, Arizona, plays Utah State. We'll have the 8:45 game between the 7 and the 2 in the East, UCLA and UConn. The slate concludes at 9:45 with a 4-5 game as Texas Tech takes on Alabama in the Midwest. Also on the men's on the men's side today, second round of the NIT got underway. Dayton beat UNC Wilmington 80-61. Flyers go to 25-11, and with 5:27 to play, it's Liberty leading Nevada 58-56. That is the NCAA men's tournament. At the NCAA women's basketball tournament, the women's basketball tournament getting underway. The first round coming to a conclusion. 2 games left, 2 games in progress in the women's tournament to wrap up the first round. How about this one? In the Sacramento 2 bracket, top seeded UCLA struggling just a little bit against Cal Baptist. 36-30, the Bruins lead that game. 2:06 to play in the first half. And also, with 6:34 to go in the third of the Fort Worth 1 Regional, Illinois, the 7th seed, leads the 10 seed Colorado 39-36. Earlier today, in the women's tournament, in the Fort Worth 1 Regional, top-seeded UConn went to 35-0 with a 90-52 win over UTSA. Huskies will next get Syracuse, the number 9 seed. The Orange beat Iowa State 72-63. Audie Crooks, a valiant 37-point effort, but it's not enough. And the old rivals, UConn and Syracuse, will hook up on Monday in the second round in Fort Worth 1. Other games today, in the other first-round games today in the Fort Worth 1 bracket, third-seeded Ohio State, no problems at home in Columbus. They beat 14th-seeded Howard 75-54. Next up for the Buckeyes, Hannah Hidalgo and Notre Dame. They beat Fairfield 79-60. Sacramento 2, we mentioned UCLA Cal Baptist. Whoever wins that game will play Oklahoma State in the second round. The Cowgirls beat Princeton 82-68. Great performance by Cole Aycott, 28 points and 10 rebounds in that one. In the Fort Worth 3 bracket, seed Chalk Hill with the 4 and the 5s in Morgantown. West Virginia blew out the MAC champs Miami of Ohio 82-54. Tasty second round game for the Mountaineers next. They'll take on Kentucky, who beat Sunbelt champion James Madison 71-56. That'll be a good one, West Virginia and Kentucky. The number 3 seed of the Fort Worth 3 Regional, Louisville, trailed at the end of the first quarter against Vermont, but they pulled away from the America East champs in the second half, 72-52. Next up for the Cardinals, Alabama. They beat Rhode Island 68-55. In Columbia, the top seed of the Sacramento 4 Regional, South Carolina, cruised to a 103-34 win over Southern. Gamecocks will play Southern California in the next round. Thrilling finish between them and Clemson. Clemson hit what looked to be a game-winning 3 and set the game and won. Looked to have hit a game-winning 3, but upon review, the ball was judged to still be in the hands of the Clemson shooter. It didn't count. The Trojans win it in overtime, 71-67. 18th win of the year for Lindsey Gottlieb's team. Regular season rematch, South Carolina, Southern Cal, coming up on Monday in Columbia. And also, boy, talk about scares. FDU, the school that was the second men's 16 to beat a 1, nearly became the first women's 15 to beat a 2. They gave Iowa a scare and a half today before Jan Jensen's team won 58-48. Iowa gets the lowest seeded winner of the first round so far, 10th seeded Virginia. The Wahoos beat Georgia in overtime 82-73. Virginia won a first 4 games, so their first 4 to second round. Virginia will play Iowa in the Sacramento 4 second round matchup. That will be on Monday. The NCAA Women's Tournament continues. Sunday action, big day of action continues. The women's second round tomorrow begins at noon Eastern with Maryland against North Carolina. At 1 o'clock, NC State, the number 7 seed in Fort Worth, I won't even tell you the renames, takes on Michigan. Tasty 5-4 versus 5 game at 2 o'clock, Ole Miss at Minnesota. Then at 3 o'clock, Texas Tech will play at LSU. At 4 Eastern, it'll be Baylor at Duke. At 6, Oregon at Texas. Michigan State at Oklahoma at 8. And then at 10, Washington at ECU in a battle of the purple. And again, the confirmed second round games for Monday have not all been, actually the times have been set. Monday's action will begin at noon with Alabama at Louisville. Then at 2, Virginia, Iowa. Notre Dame, Ohio State at 4. Kentucky, West Virginia at 5. Syracuse, UConn at 6. The Illinois, Colorado winner against Vanderbilt at 7. And then at 8 Eastern, USC, South Carolina. And then at 10 o'clock, it's going to be Oklahoma State and UCLA. So likely going to have the all USC battle for you on Monday night. That'll be our likely live choice there. That would be my guess. Again, we're gonna have one of those games for you on Monday. Or we could do the Illinois Vanderbilt and Oklahoma State UCLA doubleheader, or Oklahoma State Cal Baptist doubleheader at 10 o'clock. That might be what we might just do that. Hopefully my appointment will be done in time to where I can do that. Anyway, I'm getting a little too personal for you people. 43-42, Arkansas leads High Point. Real quick, updates. Men's basketball, Scott Cross officially introduced today as the new head men's coach at Georgia Tech. And the NCAA out there. And North Carolina could be getting ready to make a change. Sources are saying that the Tar Heels and Hubert Davis are discussing future plans for the program. Could Davis be on his way out? Tar Heel fans none pleased with him after the collapse against VCU on Thursday. Other sports, March Madness is awesome. There are other sports going around in the NBA. Fourth quarter, Clippers lead the Mavericks 120 to 116. Halftime, Utah 70, Philadelphia 64. Phoenix leads Milwaukee 34-30 in the second quarter. Earlier today, 40 more for SGA was Oklahoma City 132, Washington 111. Charlotte 124, Memphis 101. It was the Lakers over the Magic 105-104. Cleveland 111, New Orleans 106. Atlanta 126, Golden State 110. It was Houston 123, Miami 122. And it was San Antonio 134, Indiana 119. NHL on this Saturday night. One game in progress. Into the first. Edmonton 1, Tampa Bay nothing. Pittsburgh won 5-4 in a shootout over Winnipeg. How about Nashville? They took down Vegas 4-1 today as that West playoff race gets hotter. Minnesota beat Dallas 2-1 in overtime. Buffalo 4, Los Angeles 1. 4-1 also the final for the Flyers over the Sharks in San Jose. It was Columbus 5, Seattle 2. Montreal blitzed the Islanders 7-3. Ottawa 5, Toronto 2. St. Louis 3, Vancouver 1. Boston 4, Detroit 2. Soccer today in the Premier League. Brighton beat Liverpool 2-1. 2 goals for Danny Welbeck. Harry Wilson grabbed his 10th goal of the year. Fulham beat Burnley 3-1. Chelsea's misery continues. They lose 3-0 at Everton, so Everton changed the stadium, and Chelsea still can't perform with the Blue half of Merseyside. Leeds and Brentford ended in a goalless draw. Other notables today, Valencia beat Sevilla 2-0 in La Liga. Bayern, ever closer to the Bundesliga title, they beat Union Berlin 4-0. Borussia Dortmund rallied to beat Hamburg 3-2 in the Bundesliga there. Also, AC Milan beat Torino 3-2. First goal contribution of the year for Christian Pulisic. Juve and Sassuolo ended 1-1. PSG beat Nice 4-0 in France. In the English Championship, Wrexham beat Sheffield United 2-1. They're still in the playoff race. Leaders Coventry a 3-0 winner at Swansea. And Scotland, Hearts beat Dundee 1-0, but Rangers piled on the pressure by beating Aberdeen by 4 goals to 1. Of course, there is a trophy to be handed out in that sport tomorrow. Tomorrow in the sport, Arsenal and Manchester City in the Carabao League Cup final tomorrow at Wembley. But updating you on that Scottish Premiership table, just because that's a race everybody is fighting for. Everybody's paying into. Hearts still 3 up on Rangers with 7 to play. Celtic can close the gap back to 2 and leapfrog Rangers if they win their match tomorrow against Dundee United. So it is going to be a dramatic end to the season. And it's going to be a dramatic end, maybe, to this game between Arkansas and High Point. And off we go with the second half. Arkansas going left to right in the white uniforms. High Point going right to left, opposite direction. And foul on High Point to get the second half started. Big South versus SEC. Winner to San Jose of the Sweet 16 to play either Arizona or Utah State. Auff on the move. Kicks it out to Brazil. Brazil trying to knife in. Jump shot, and it is good for Arkansas. And it's Richmond who gets the second half started. 45-42 is the Razorback lead. Here's High Point. Kick out. Hausen three in the corner. Off the mark. Richmond with a rebound for Arkansas. Gives it to Auff. Now back to Richmond. Auff top of the key. 22 to shoot. Auff drives off the window. No, but he's fouled. Two quick fouls for High Point in the first 43 seconds of the half. 45-42. The lead for the Razorbacks. Sweet 16. The prize for the winner, as we just mentioned. Here is the exciting freshman, Darius Auff. First free throw is good. Hottest player in these United States. Second free throw good. 47-42 as the Hogs now lead by 5. 47-42. Here comes High Point with Anderson. Anderson. And a foul here. Five-point game. Martin, left wing. Pull up the free throw line. It is good. Rob Martin hits it. 47-44 is the Arkansas lead. Here's Auff, left wing. Auff, 16-footer, in and out. Rebounded by High Point. Panthers now up the floor. This is Washington. Now over to Anderson. Now over to Martin. Left wing, Martin. Martin. He's going to pull for three. It's not even close. Rebound, Arkansas, Richmond. Richmond accelerates, drives. No, but a foul. So Billy Richmond will go to the line. First free throw. Oh, he left it short. He left it short. Vandy, Nebraska's heading for a thrilling finish. So here at the line is Billy Richmond. And Richmond hits the first. It's the second. So 1 out of 2. And a 48-44 Arkansas lead. 10-6 for Richmond. Martin. Anderson. Anderson now over to Fletcher. Fletcher gives it up. Martin, oh my God, he just threw one up off balance. What in the world was that? Not even close. Almost trying to bait a foul. Here's Richmond. Gives it to Thomas, left wing. Thomas now trails it back to Richmond. Auff, right wing. Pass to Thomas. Thomas for three, in and out. Had a bit of a hot hand earlier, but it's cooled off a bit. Ball goes out of bounds. It stays with Arkansas. Stays with the team from Fayetteville, the team that won it all back in 1994. Thomas on the drive, off the window. That was pretty. Malik Thomas. Arkansas up by a half dozen. Martin now right wing on a bounce to Aquino. Martin drives, it scores, great finish. And Arkansas now leads 50-46. High Point trying to stay in this game and maybe make a run at the finish. Still 17 minutes left. This is Auff moving. Auff to the 10. Auff with the layup. 6-point lead for Arkansas. Martin on a drive. Scores. 52-48. I'll tell you, this is just whiplash basketball in Portland. Brazil, now Auff. Auff on a runner, no. Richmond over the back as he was trying to get the rebound. $16:25 left. Here comes High Point with Anderson. Anderson laying it in. 2-point game. Anderson now with 8. Now here is Auff. Now gives it up to Richmond. Richmond now over to Thomas. Thomas and then, a collision between Brazil and Anderson. And they both seem to be in some pretty significant pain. That'll lead to the under 16 stoppage at the 15:45 mark. Arkansas 52. And High Point 50. So will this be the end here? So High Point and Arkansas here in the NCAA tournament. $52.50 Arkansas, 15:45 left. Again, another big day on the channel tomorrow. 4 games coming your way. We'll probably promote this one more time. We'll have half the games, just like today. We had half the games today. We'll have half the games tomorrow. We'll have 2 games from St. Louis, the 2 early games. Miami and Purdue, followed by Iowa State and Kentucky. And then we'll also have the 2 games from Philadelphia at 6:10 and 8:45. Tennessee, Virginia, UCLA, UConn. The other second-round games tomorrow, of course, at the San Diego Pod. It's St. John's, Kansas. That's going to be exciting. And Utah State, Arizona. And the 2 in Tampa are Iowa, Florida, and Texas Tech, Alabama. And when those games are done, we'll have a Sweet 16. Trevon Brazil heading back into the locker room. Actually, not in the full area. He's in a tunnel getting checked after that collision with Terry Anderson. Still being checked on by a team trainer. 15:45 left. Auff. Oh, that's dangerous. That's intercepted. Look out. High point. Slam. Well, not a slam, but either way you put it, it gives High Point the tie. 52, 52. 15:25 left. Thomas. Wagner. Back to Thomas. That's a long three. Short off the front rim. And the rebound, High Point Martin. Oh, what a long pass indeed. Anderson, no, but he'll go to the line. So big free throws for Terry Anderson, a 76% free throw shooter out of Deer Park, Texas. Tie game between High Point and Arkansas. Anderson averages 16 points a game. He's halfway to that with 8. Make it 9, and High Point has the lead. Here's the second free throw, and it is good. And High Point leads by a deuce. Can they finish? That's the question. It's an 8-0 run. Auff with it now. Richmond to Auff. Auff for 3. No. But the rebound inside, and that shot didn't go either. The rebound inside by Isaiah Seeley. Here's another 3. That's a bit too long. Rebound giving up to Auff. Seeley now back to Auff, top of the key. Now goes right wing. It's Wagner with 20 on the timer. Wagner now trying to go into the lane. Wagner looking for Seeley, and it's intercepted. Long pass, High Point. Numbers. Anderson lays it in. And High Point is up 4 with 14:12 to play. Timeout, John Calipari. And the High Point faithful starting to sense something. Meanwhile, in OKC, Nebraska down 1 with 2:12 to go. A good bounce pass inside. They score it off the heel, and the Cornhuskers, who won their first tournament game on Thursday, now lead by a point with 2 minutes to go. Does Vanderbilt have an answer? They pass the ball around. In trouble. That's a corner 3. Oh, it's good. Corner 3, and Vandy back to the lead. 1:42 left. A.K. Okereke hitting the 3. So High Point and Arkansas, 56-52. Meanwhile, there's still 14-11 left. Meanwhile, 1:42 to go at Oklahoma City, and it's Vanderbilt with a 70-68 lead over Nebraska. The winner there will play either Florida or Iowa in the Sweet 16 next weekend in Houston. That'll be next Thursday. The Thursday-Saturday regionals are Houston and San Jose, south of the West. Midwest and East, Chicago, D.C. are the Friday-Sunday regionals. Then it's Indianapolis for the Final Four. Then it's the Final Two, and then it is 7 months of waiting until the next season starts. Nebraska misses 3, but they get the follow, and that game is now tied at 70. My God, what a game that has been all night long. You figured that would be the classic 4-5 coin flip game, and Nebraska now has the lead. Or excuse me, it's tied, and now Vanderbilt has just taken the lead. We will keep you abreast of that. They're about to come out of the break here. Rob Martin has put on a show. He's been the one that was matched up against Darius Acuff. He's more than holding his own offensively against Acuff. That is for sure. Nebraska to the late. Oh, no. Oh, put back, yes. 39 seconds left. Vanderbilt has a timeout. We'll try to keep you posted. Here's Ewan for Arkansas. He gives it to Acuff. 28 seconds at Oklahoma City. Acuff top of the key in Portland. He'll kick it back out. Richmond for 3. Good. Here's Vanderbilt. Oh, it's nearly a walk. 7 to shoot. In trouble. Nearly a turnover. 3. Got to put it up. Do something. No. Rebound Nebraska. 8 seconds. 7 seconds left. As High Point misses a 3 in this game. 3 seconds. Layup. Good. Nebraska with 2.2. One chance Vanderbilt. I think a timeout was called, though. Vanderbilt took a timeout. They're going crazy in Oklahoma City. Meanwhile, it's 56-54, High Point, but not anymore. Brazil with the 3, Arkansas back to the lead. Nebraska, incredible. What a fan base. The camera was shaking on that made layup. That's unbelievable. Anderson spinning, trying to give High Point the lead back. No, Brazil gets the board. Here comes Acuff. Long pass. Richmond trying to move. Richmond with a slam, but we're getting a foul instead on Arkansas. Here's High Point for 3. It is no good. Now, Martin for 3. That's off the heel. And Brazil, he tried to be cute. He gave it to Anderson instead. Martin for 3. Oh my goodness, it took about 6 bounces before dropping. High Point up 2. Martin's got 21. Acuff with the response. Martin on the right wing. 59-59. 4 ties, 8 lead changes. Vanderbilt about to inbound the ball in Oklahoma City. Here they go. 1 second. Here's a heave. Oh! Oh my God, he missed that by 3 inches. Vanderbilt missed that by 3 inches. Nebraska has won. High Point has made a 3. 62-59, and now a timeout. And we had to... Oh, I thought they were taking a timeout. They did not. A lot going on here. Last game of the night. 11 minutes to go. Arkansas down 3. Auff, turn around. No. Back tap to Ewan. Auff, straight away 3. Got it. Auff with the triple to tie it at 62. Inside 11 minutes to go. Now Arkansas transition break. Richmond a one-handed stufferino. And Arkansas back at front. Here is Martin. Kick out. Johnston, corner 3. Watch out. Watch out. Call double 9. Call all 9s for your 3-point shooting help. Chase Johnston, 9 points. High Point up by 1. Auff for Arkansas. Auff misses, but he drew a foul. On High Point, 9:45 left. We're going to take a break. God knows we need it. Darius Auff makes the first free throw. They changed. Apparently, they changed a Richmond 3 to a 2. Free throw good, or they changed something. He's eating a pretzel on the bench. That's I've never seen that before. Interesting. Anyway, it's a 2-point lead for Arkansas. 9:32 left to go. Martin. Left wing, 7 to shoot. Martin, step back, jump shot from the left block, no. Rebound, high point, it's Anderson. Anderson, no good, but a foul. That'll be the 4th team foul on Arkansas. 9:12 left. Second free throw, no good. So it's 67-66. Arkansas lead with 9 minutes to go. Auff on a drive, no, out of bounds. Whose ball is it? Nobody knows. I think they've said high point ball. Yeah, high point ball because Calipari wants them to look at it. 8:59 to go. 1-point lead for Arkansas. Last game of the day in the NCAA tournament. So 67-66 lead for Arkansas. Again, a lot of people watching and listening. We hope that you are we hope you are enjoying this. Hope you are enjoying this game as all you people out there, wherever you might be accessing us, you're enjoying this, and why wouldn't you be enjoying this? Again, the call on the court here is a high point ball. Arkansas has challenged. 8:59 to play in the game. See what the call is. And it's a successful challenge. So Arkansas gets the ball back. Up a point with 9 minutes to go. Wagner gets it into the steady hands of Auff. Auff. Thomas. 10 to shoot. Thomas floater. No. Rebound high point with Anderson. Martin. Driving in. No, but a foul at Arkansas. That will be the 5th team foul. 8:41 remaining in the game. Well, everybody wanted to complain After the first 2 days, everyone wanted to complain after some of the early games today. I think the NCAA tournament has once again reminded all the people that are complaining to, stick it where the sun don't shine. First free throw good for Martin. We've had some doozies tonight. Texas Gonzaga, Vanderbilt against Nebraska, and now this one. High Point, the second free throw was good. They now lead it 68-67 with 8:33 to go. Auff, Ewan drives. Too strong. Martin now on the run. Oh, went for the alley-oop and a great interception by Richmond. Hogs run, and Thomas lays it in. Arkansas back in front. 8:12 to go. Here's Johnston for three. Too short. Perhaps a bit rushed. Arkansas got the long rebound, and now Auff will slow it. Both teams 9 of 20 from the floor in the second half. Richmond to Thomas. Thomas on the right wing. Thomas, all the seas parted for him, and Thomas lays it in to give Arkansas a 3-point lead. 71-68, 7:46 left. Here is Martin for High Point. Martin, 18 to shoot. Martin will give it to Fletcher. Fletcher knifing in. Fletcher off the window and scores. Aaron Fletcher, who played at Kentucky for John Calipari, had a brief stay there. He's got 21 and High Point's within one. Richmond. Thomas. No. Rebound High Point Anderson. Now to Martin. Martin drives. No. Tipped by Aquino. Good follow. That was very close to the cylinder, but Aquino just tipped it in. High Point back in front, 72-71. Auff gives it to Wagner. Now Thomas on the left wing. Now it's Wagner again. Wagner throwing it up. No. Ewan the rebound. Ewan able to force it in off the window. And Arkansas back to the lead with 6.5 to play. 73-72. Martin loses it. And I believe it's going to be Arkansas ball. 6:25 left. 73-72. Arkansas leads. Fasten your seatbelts for the finish. 6 minutes and 25 seconds left. High Point has 3 timeouts remaining. Arkansas has 1. Playman trying to take High Point to the dance, or trying High Point to the Sweet 16. Darius Acuff and the Hogs, they have other ideas. They want the clock to strike midnight of the fairy tale, and Thomas with a big triple. 76-72. Feels like you get a 2-possession lead in this game. It's over 15 lead changes tonight, 10 in this half. Anderson at the other end. Out of bounds, and it will stay. It will go. Oh, no, it's a foul, Arkansas. 6th foul on the Hogs. 4-point game. Terry Anderson, a 76% free throw shooter. First one rattles in. Another one coming. Got it. 5:53 to play. Hogs up 2. Acuff. Thomas now left wing, accelerates. Acuff's open, but it's Ewin. Thomas, that about Ewin. Acuff begging for the ball. Ewin, no, can't get it through traps. A bit of a long pass, so Ewin will just do it himself, and he hooks it in. Great job by Ewin. 78-74, 5:26 left. Here's Aquino on the right block. Fletcher, stripped by Richmond. This is Ewin. Back-to-back double-double games for Ewin. Acuff slows the pace. 4-point Arkansas lead nearing the 5-minute mark. Acuff on the accelerator to the 10. Scoring in 1 for Darius Acuff. Well, picking a big moment to show up, Acuff. And this is a big free throw that would make it a 7-point Arkansas lead. And he hits it. 81-74 with 5:02 to play. Does High Point have one final push? Do they have an answer? Martin driving and scoring. There you go. Take the 2. Easy 2 for Rob Martin. Plenty of time. Don't force it. That's what the message had to be from a High Point perspective. 81-76. For 36 to go. Acuff to Thomas. Brazil now gives it to Thomas. Acuff. Oh, nearly stole it away by Martinez. Acuff handles it with 12 to shoot. Between the H and the N, out of the E of March Madness. Now he accelerates. Acuff, watch out. Shot blocked by Anderson. High Point ahead of the pack. Fletcher lays it in. Back to a 3-point game. Good defense to offense possession for the Panthers. 23 for Fletcher. Acuff across midcourt as we near the 4-minute mark in Portland. A trip to the Sweet 16 in the balance. Acuff, a lob to Ewin. Ewin turns, hooks it in. Ewin, the great finish, and Arkansas back up 5. Martin brings it into the front court. Top of the key, now accelerates into the paint. Left hand dribble, score! And 1! Into the stretch. In Portland, a 3-point lead for the Razorbacks. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Final 3:42 in Portland. 83-80 lead for the University of Arkansas against High Point University. Razorbacks trying to make a second consecutive trip into the Sweet 16 against a High Point team trying to make the Sweet 16 for the first time ever. A team that just won their first tournament game ever on Thursday. And one opportunity for Rob Martin. It is good. 2-point game. 3:42 left. Auff. There really shouldn't be a scenario where he gives up the basketball, to be quite honest with you. Ewan. On the drive. Ewan. Missed it. Rebound. Anderson. Anderson. Gives it up. Running layup. Good. Rob Martin ties the game. 83 apiece. 3:14 left. He's got 30, Martin. Auff. To Thomas. Now Brazil with it. Richmond left wing. Richmond nearly stolen by Aquino. Ewan has it high post. 13 to shoot. Auff well out of the left wing with Fletcher guarding. Auff blows by him. And Auff lays it in. Arkansas up by 2. Johnston at corner 3. In and out. Rebound Ewan. And now into the hands of Auff. 2:38 to go and a 2-point Arkansas lead. Trying to make their 16th Sweet 16 Arkansas. It's Auff. Baseline. Lob. Brazil. Tumbles. Turnover. Here's Johnston for 3 in the lead. No good. Got it back. Dishes to Anderson. I tell you, Chase, I know you like your threes, but you should have just drove to the basket right there. Oh, my goodness. Thomas nearly pulled the trigger and didn't do it. Brazil in the front court. 13 on the timer. Less than 2 minutes left. 2-point lead for Arkansas. Here's Auff. Gets it to go. Darius Auff stepping up when it matters. 31 for the Phenom. Ewan blocked Martin's three-point attempt. Goes into the backcourt deflected. High Point's okay. Martin. And Finn Clayman's going to take a timeout with 90 seconds left. Four-point Razorback lead. So 4-point lead for Arkansas. So 1:30 to go. And it's going to be High Point ball. And this is the possession of the game, it feels like. Rob Martin, he'll get it to Johnston. Now back to Anderson. Anderson driving. And it's blocked by Richmond. And it's in the hands of Auff. And Arkansas can now really milk some clock here. 15 on the timer. Auff, Calipari motioning for something, but you know it's going to be Auff. Here he goes! Bullseye! Darius Auff is a madman. 7-point game. The hottest player in these United States. Might have just done it for Arkansas. Anderson misses the dunk, but there's a stoppage before that. High Point took a timeout. The tournament's hottest property. Might have just struck midnight for High Point. And Arkansas just about to the finish line. 7-point lead. 46 seconds left. $34 for Auff. And now another timeout. Oh, I put the fouls instead of timeouts. So High Point out of timeout. 7-point game. 46 seconds. So 34 for Auff. And now High Point in desperation mode with 46 seconds. Quick pass to Fletcher, and it goes to make it 90 to 85. And now they will foul Ewing relatively quickly. Of course, there's been the, well, we know in the past about how John Calipari coached teams can do at the free throw line in tight games, and chance to dispel that theory. And High Point found a guy who's only shooting 73% at the line and hasn't been to the line tonight in Malik Ewing. Aquino checks back in. It is a 1-and-1 situation. So Ewing takes a deep breath, takes a couple dribbles of the basketball, swish. Nothing but nylon on the front end. That was a big one. And he makes them both. 2 clutch free throws. Brazil checks back in. 44 seconds. Now or never for High Point. And now we get a There's not sure what the situation is here as Calipari is pointing at something. Red Box has come back. High Point has played really well tonight. Boy, you've missed a show. I'll tell you what, we could have just had Rob Martin of High Point and Darius Acuff of Arkansas play one-on-one. Those two have put on a show. Looks like High Point's going to run out of gas, though. Down 7 with 44 seconds. Finally, we're ready for the inbound. Martin, baseline, traveled. He traveled with it, and that's probably the last hurrah. Tough break for Rob Martin to have a great night end on a traveling violation. Richmond to inbound. Lob to Ewing. Ewing lost it, and it's going to be High Point basketball. High Point pressed, and Ewing turned it over. 34 seconds left, so perhaps the danger's still not all the way clear for Arkansas. You definitely have to clear that three-point arc, that's for sure. Johnston to trigger the inbound with 34 seconds left. Housen, high post, gives it up. Anderson jacks one up. That's short off the front of the rim. Housen with the layup, reverse no. Ball in the hands of Brazil. Brazil fouled with 20 seconds left. And Arkansas looks as if they're going to be calling the Hogs in San Jose on Thursday night. Brazil, and he missed the front end of 1-1. 18 seconds. Johnston gives it up. Desperation three off the heel, no good. Thomas touched it, and it's out of bounds with 12 seconds left. So High Point will So here is the fling to Alver. That's a stupid long three that goes in. 92-88, and a foul with 8 seconds left. Fighting to the end, High Point. Housen with the three. I mean, that was a ridiculous three. Not quite as long as where Johnston hit that three against Wisconsin the other day, but that still had some length to it. 8 seconds left. And Rob Martin has just fouled out of this game, and that's a tough scene. He's crying, but he has nothing to cry about. He put on a heck of a show tonight. Acuff makes the front end. He more than held his own against the sport's hottest property. But Acuff and the Hogs, too much. Second free throw good. 6-point game with 8 seconds left. Martinez with 7, up the floor with 6. 4 seconds. Johnston flings a wild three up. It's off the mark. And the Arkansas Razorbacks and John Calipari are heading back to the Sweet 16. High Point gave them everything they wanted and then some. A valiant effort by the Big South champions, but it's the red-hot tournament champions of the Southeastern Conference who make the second weekend. And listen, we don't root for teams, we just root for storylines. But objectively, as college basketball fans, I can't say that we'd be opposed to at least one more game of Darius Acuff. He stirred the drink tonight. He got a lot of help. That's probably why Arkansas won. And it's the Hogs off to San Jose. They'll get either Arizona or Utah State in the Sweet 16. What a way to end the Saturday night slate in Portland. Final score, Arkansas 94, High Point 88. We thank you for watching this college basketball watch-along. Rest up, everybody. We got 8 more games in total and 4 more streams coming your way tomorrow. See you on the